The early morning sun was just rising, painting the sky in soft orange and pink hues. The base was quiet, except for the distant hum of helicopters warming up for the day's missions. Sergeant Daniel Hayes walked across the tarmac, his boots making soft thuds on the concrete. He carried a small bag of equipment and glanced toward the helicopter that would soon take off. Today was no ordinary flight. A dangerous operation awaited them, and the tension in the air made everything feel heavier than usual. Beside him, sitting perfectly still, was Rex, his canine partner. Rex was a large German shepherd, strong, alert, and trained for all kinds of missions. He had been with Daniel for years, and the bond between them was deeper than friendship. They understood each other without words. Rex sniffed the cool morning air, ears twitching at every sound. The wind, the distant vehicles, even the soft rumble of engines starting up. His dark eyes scanned the surroundings, focused, alert. The helicopter's blades began to spin faster, slicing through the air with a steady, loud whir. Daniel called out, "Come on, Rex, let's get you in. We have to move," but Rex did not move. He stayed rooted on the ramp, his paws planted firmly on the metal surface. Daniel crouched down and gently touched his shoulder. "Rex, buddy, we have to go." The dog did not flinch. He refused to step inside the helicopter. Daniel frowned. This had never happened before. Rex was always eager to jump into action. Something was different. The other soldiers were already climbing aboard, checking their gear and strapping themselves in. They glanced down at Rex, some laughing nervously. "What's the dog doing?" one of them asked. "He's scared of flying." Another soldier shook his head. "Now Rex never shows fear. Look at him, he's focused. Like he's seeing something we don't." Daniel's heart skipped a beat. He had trained Rex to trust his instincts. When Rex hesitated, it was not because he was afraid. Something was wrong. Daniel could feel it in his chest, a tight, nervous tension that made him glance around the base. The wind moved differently, carrying a scent that Rex seemed to notice instantly. "All right, everyone, hold up a second," Daniel called to the pilot. The man in the cockpit nodded, confused but ready to wait. The helicopter's blades slowed just a little, and the noise became less overwhelming. Daniel stayed close to Rex, crouching to meet the dog's gaze. Rex's ears were upright, his nose twitching, and his eyes were fixed on something in the distance. Daniel followed Rex's stare. At first he saw nothing unusual, just the open field beyond the base dotted with equipment and vehicles. But Rex did not blink, did not move his paws. He barked once, sharply, low and warning-like, and then sat down, planting his weight as if to say, "Stop. Wait." Daniel swallowed hard. "Rex, what is it, boy?" he murmured. The dog barked again, pacing in a small circle but never leaving the spot on the ramp. His tail twitched, not in excitement but in tension. Daniel's fellow soldiers were starting to notice the unusual behavior. "Maybe he smells something," one said. "Animals have instincts. Maybe there's a wild animal or something near the field." Daniel shook his head. "No, this isn't normal. Rex isn't afraid of animals. He's warning us." The pilot adjusted his headset. "Sergeant, is this normal? We need to take off soon. We have a schedule." Daniel took a deep breath. "Wait a few more minutes. Just watch him. Trust me on this one." Rex sniffed the air again, growling softly under his breath. The sound was low but filled with warning. Soldiers exchanged uneasy glances. A few moved closer, trying to see what Rex was sensing. Daniel kept his hands on the dog's shoulders. "It's okay, buddy. We're right here. Show us what it is." For a moment, the air seemed still. Even the hum of the helicopter's blades felt less important. Everyone noticed it, the strange quiet that settled around the base, broken only by Rex's low, warning growls. Daniel's stomach twisted. He knew that dogs could sense things humans could not. Rex was trained to detect danger, to protect the team, and right now he was sending a clear signal. Something was wrong. The wind shifted again, carrying a faint but unusual smell. Daniel sniffed the air, but he could not place it. Soldiers whispered among themselves, unsure whether to listen to a dog or follow the strict rules of schedule. But Daniel knew better. He had been in dangerous situations before, and Rex had never failed him. "Not once. Rex is not going to move until we understand," Daniel said firmly. The other soldiers reluctantly stepped back, giving the dog space. Rex sat down, ears twitching, nose pointed toward the edge of the base. He barked again, shorter this time, more urgent. Daniel knelt, placing a hand gently on Rex's muzzle. "Good boy. We're listening." Then, as if confirming Daniel's instincts, Rex bolted a few steps forward, then stopped abruptly, refusing to go any further. He barked at a point near the edge of the base, his body stiff with alertness. Daniel looked carefully. There it was. A shadow, faint but moving strangely across the field. Something was hidden, something dangerous. Soldiers murmured among themselves. "What is it?" One whispered. "We don't see anything." "That's exactly why Rex is warning us," Daniel said. "He sees danger before we do. Trust him." The pilot leaned out slightly from the cockpit. "Sergeant, I don't see anything." "Can we move?" Daniel shook his head. "Not yet, hold on. The dog is telling us to wait." Rex barked again, more insistently. Then he began pacing slightly, circling the ramp but never stepping inside. Daniel followed him carefully. The dog's body language was clear. Do not proceed. Danger is ahead. Minutes passed. The sun climbed higher, and the base seemed quieter than ever, almost as if the world itself was holding its breath. Soldiers whispered nervously, shifting from foot to foot. Daniel stood calmly, hand on Rex's back, eyes following the dog's gaze. He trusted Rex's instincts completely. Suddenly, the dog barked sharply, then froze, staring at a spot just beyond the tarmac. Daniel leaned forward, squinting. For a moment, he saw a faint glimmer in the grass, a strange movement that didn't belong. His heart raced. "Everyone stay back," he said firmly. "Something's there. Rex knows it. We wait?" The helicopter's blades whirred louder, impatiently. The pilot tapped on his headset. Daniel raised a hand. "Hold your position. Trust me. Trust the dog." Rex barked again, a deep warning sound that echoed across the base. Daniel felt a shiver run down his spine. He knew without a doubt that Rex was trying to protect them all. The dog was refusing to move because he had sensed danger. Something was about to happen, something the humans could not see yet, but Rex could. The other soldiers slowly understood. They stepped back, watching the dog. One of them muttered, "That dog. He's saving us." Daniel nodded quietly. "Yes, and we need to pay attention." For a long minute, everyone waited, tense, silent, except for Rex's warning growls. The morning sun warmed the base, but no one noticed. All eyes were on the dog, the hero no one had yet realized. And then, just as Daniel expected, the first signs of what Rex had sensed began to appear. The tension on the tarmac grew thicker with every passing second. Rex, still fixed on the same spot, continued to growl softly, low but urgent, and the soldiers began to sense the seriousness of the situation. No one moved toward the edge of the field, not even the more daring ones. Even the pilot, usually calm and focused, now rested his hand on the controls, waiting for Daniel's signal. Daniel crouched beside Rex, whispering, "Good boy. You see it, don't you?" The dog's eyes never left the distant point he had been fixating on, ears pricked forward and body stiff. Daniel could feel the adrenaline rushing through him. The base felt unusually quiet, as if the world itself had paused to watch what would happen next. The soldiers were murmuring among themselves. "What do you think it is?" one asked, voice low, almost afraid to speak. "I don't know," Daniel replied, keeping his voice calm though his mind raced. "Rex knows. That's all we need to know right now. Stay back." A soft wind blew, rustling the grass at the edge of the field. For a moment, it almost seemed like the movement was nothing, just the natural sway of the tall blades. But Daniel could tell it wasn't normal. The shadows shifted in a way that didn't match the sun's angle. His eyes narrowed. "It's there," he said under his breath. "Something is definitely there." Rex barked sharply again, a single commanding bark that cut through the quiet morning. The soldiers flinched, their nerves on edge. "He's serious," whispered one. Another nodded. "I've never seen him act like this before. He's not scared, he's warning us." Daniel reached down and gently put his hand on Rex's neck. "Good boy, show us. We're with you." He could feel the dog's muscles tense under his touch, ready to spring but holding back, as if saying, "Not yet, wait." Daniel trusted Rex completely. Over the years, the dog had saved him more times than he could count, sensing danger before anyone else. The pilot finally spoke through his headset, voice cautious. "Sergeant Hayes, we can't wait forever. We have other operations scheduled. Can you check it out quickly?" Daniel shook his head. "Not without Rex. He's seeing something we can't. I'm not risking the team or the helicopter. Give me a few minutes." Rex sniffed the air again, nostrils flaring, then took a single step forward. Then he stopped, refusing to go further. His body stiffened. He barked again, a sound that was sharp, urgent, and warning all at once. Daniel's stomach tightened. That bark wasn't just alerting him, it was telling him that danger was very close. Daniel motioned to the soldiers. "Stay here. Give us room." He gestured to a small group of them who had stepped closer than the others. "Do not move past the line. Rex is leading this." The dog padded forward a few steps again, then froze. Daniel followed, moving carefully and slowly, eyes scanning the grass and field beyond. He noticed a faint glimmer in the sunlight, like something reflective hidden among the shadows. His heart skipped a beat. Something was definitely there, but he couldn't tell what it was yet. "Could it be a person?" whispered one of the soldiers. Daniel shook his head. "I don't know. But Rex has never been wrong. If he's acting like this, it's dangerous. We wait for him to show us." Minutes felt like hours. The wind picked up slightly, carrying the scent of earth, metal, and something else, something faint but unmistakable. Daniel sniffed the air, but humans don't detect danger the way dogs do. He had learned to trust Rex's instincts more than his own eyes. And right now, Rex was insisting they wait. Then, with a sudden burst of movement, Rex barked again and darted a short distance forward, then stopped abruptly, growling lowly. Daniel followed, keeping his hands near the dog, careful not to spook him. As they approached, Daniel could now see it more clearly. A small, unusual mound in the grass, partially hidden and almost impossible to notice from a distance. Daniel's eyes widened. "Stay back," he said urgently to the soldiers. The mound looked innocent at first, just like a clump of grass or dirt, but the way it shifted slightly in the wind, the way it seemed out of place. Daniel's instincts told him this was something dangerous. Rex barked again, circling the mound carefully. His tail was stiff, ears forward, body tense. He looked at Daniel, then back at the mound, then back at Daniel as if to say, "Do you see it now? We have to be careful." Daniel nodded. He radioed the pilot. "Hold your position. Do not move. Rex has found something. I need everyone to stay back." The soldiers exchanged nervous glances. Some whispered to each other. "What is it?" One asked quietly. "I don't know yet," Daniel said. "But Rex wouldn't be this serious if it wasn't bad." The dog sniffed closer, circling the mound again, then barked sharply once more. Daniel leaned closer, eyes scanning carefully. He could now see a small metal object peeking through the dirt. His heart raced. It looked like a part of some equipment, maybe an explosive device or a trap. Daniel motioned for the soldiers to stay calm. "Everyone stay here. Do not touch anything." His mind raced. They were trained for these situations, but the calm, controlled actions were necessary to keep everyone safe. Rex stood beside him, tail stiff, watching every movement. The dog's instincts were guiding them, keeping them from danger. The pilot's voice crackled over the radio again, more urgently this time. "Sergeant, I don't see it from up here. Can we proceed? We're losing daylight." Daniel shook his head. "Negative. Do not move. Rex has found something we cannot see. Trust him." As he spoke, Rex barked again, more insistently. Daniel realized the dog wanted them to see the danger from a safer angle. He stepped back slightly, allowing Rex to lead. The dog moved cautiously, sniffing the air and scanning the area. Daniel followed closely, careful not to crowd him. Then it became clear. It wasn't just one object, it was a series of small hidden devices, camouflaged perfectly with the surroundings. Daniel's stomach tightened. If the helicopter had tried to take off without noticing them, disaster could have struck. The K-9's sharp instincts had saved them all. The soldiers watched in awe as Daniel carefully signaled to them. "Good boy, Rex, you saw what we couldn't." He patted the dog gently, feeling a deep sense of respect and gratitude. The dog's body relaxed slightly but remained alert, ready for any new danger. One of the younger soldiers stepped forward hesitantly. "I didn't know dogs could do this." "Sense danger like this," Daniel nodded. "They can, but you have to trust them. Rex isn't just a dog. He's part of this team. He protects us, sometimes better than any human could." The pilot, still watching from the cockpit, let out a long breath. "Sergeant, I don't know what I would have done if we had taken off. I see now why you trust him completely." Daniel smiled faintly, eyes still on Rex. "It's not luck. It's training, instincts, and the bond you have with them. Rex knows more than we do sometimes." The base remained quiet. The only sounds now the soft wind and Rex's occasional growl, still scanning the area. Daniel felt a mix of relief and admiration. This mission, which had begun as routine, had become a vivid reminder of why every member of a team, human or K-9, was important. Minutes later, after ensuring the area was completely safe, Daniel signaled to the soldiers. "All right, everyone, good work. Let's prepare to move, but carefully. Rex will lead the way." The soldiers nodded, stepping back to give space to the dog. Rex, ever vigilant, led them along the safe path, his head held high, alert to every sound and movement. Daniel walked beside him, trusting completely, feeling the bond between them stronger than ever. For the soldiers, it was a moment of awakening. They had always respected Rex, but now they understood. This dog was more than an animal. He was a guardian, a hero, and the reason they were all still standing safely on the tarmac that morning. The morning sun had climbed higher, casting long shadows across the tarmac and the nearby field. The helicopter sat ready, its blades slowly spinning as the crew worked cautiously. Rex, alert and focused, led the way to the area where the unusual mound had caught his attention. His paws crunched softly against the gravel as the soldiers followed at a careful distance. Daniel stayed close, eyes scanning every detail, trusting the dog's instincts completely. The soldiers whispered among themselves, their voices hushed and nervous. "I still can't believe it," one said. "That dog saw this before we did, how?" Daniel shook his head, not taking his eyes off Rex. "It's training, instincts, and experience. He knows danger better than any of us could sometimes. That's why we follow him." Rex approached the first suspicious mound again and stopped. He sniffed the ground carefully, his nose almost touching the dirt. Then he barked sharply, low in warning, a sound that made the soldiers freeze in place. Daniel stepped forward slowly, crouching beside the dog. He could now see small metal objects partially hidden beneath the dirt, camouflaged perfectly with the surroundings. His stomach tightened. "Stay back, everyone," he said firmly. "Do not touch anything." The soldiers obeyed, stepping a few feet back, their eyes wide with tension. They could now see what Rex had sensed, several small, hidden devices arranged in a pattern that suggested danger. Daniel recognized them immediately, hidden explosives likely placed to target anyone moving in this area. He crouched closer, examining them carefully without touching anything. His mind raced. If the helicopter had taken off without noticing them, the consequences would have been disastrous. Lives would have been at risk. And yet here they were, safe, all because Rex had refused to move from the ramp. The pilot's voice crackled over the radio, tense. "Sergeant Hayes, what do we do now? Can we take off? Is it safe?" Daniel took a deep breath. "Not yet. We need to clear this area completely before we move. Rex has already saved us from a serious disaster. Let's make sure nothing else is hidden." The soldiers began to work in coordinated silence, guided by Daniel and Rex. The dog sniffed each area carefully, alert to even the faintest trace of danger. He moved systematically, leading the team across the field, stopping whenever he sensed something suspicious. Every time Rex barked, the soldiers froze and adjusted their approach. It was clear to all of them that the dog was not just warning, they were following a living guide through a dangerous terrain. Minutes stretched into a tense hour. The wind shifted, carrying the scent of the field, and Daniel noticed small signs of recent activity: disturbed dirt, footprints, and the faint glimmer of metal hidden under grass. Each time Rex signaled, Daniel and the team moved carefully, clearing the area, taking note of the hidden dangers. At one point, Rex froze completely, staring at a spot near a shallow dip in the ground. He barked sharply, growling low, his whole body tense. Daniel leaned closer, peering at the ground. There, partially buried in dirt and leaves, was a small concealed explosive. It was hidden perfectly, invisible to the casual eye. The team's breaths caught as they realized how close they had come to danger. "Rex, good boy," Daniel whispered, patting the dog gently. "You saw it. You saved everyone." The soldiers were amazed. "I've never seen a dog do this before," one admitted. "He's more than a soldier, he's a hero." Daniel nodded. "Exactly. And we need to remember that. Every step we take now is because of him. Respect his instincts. Trust his judgment." As the team continued their careful inspection, the pilot stayed in the cockpit, watching the scene unfold below. His usual calm demeanor had changed into awe and respect. "Sergeant," he said over the radio, "I don't know what I would have done if we had tried to take off earlier. That dog, he saved lives. Everyone's life." Daniel smiled faintly but didn't let his guard down. "It's not luck. It's instincts, training, and focus. Rex is part of this team. He knows his job." The sun climbed higher and the day grew warmer. Despite the tension, there was a sense of awe among the soldiers. They moved cautiously, respecting both the danger and the dog leading them. Rex continued to scan, sniffing carefully, alert to every detail. He stopped and growled at a few more hidden objects, small devices camouflaged in grass and dirt. Each time, Daniel and the soldiers took careful steps, removing the dangers and marking safe paths. For Daniel, it was a reminder of the bond between human and dog in high-risk situations. Years of training, trust, and shared experiences had made Rex more than a partner. He was a guardian. He saved lives not with words or weapons, but with instincts, intelligence, and courage. Finally, after a tense hour, the field was cleared. All hidden dangers had been discovered and dealt with safely. The soldiers stood in awe, looking at Rex with gratitude and admiration. He had guided them, warned them, and protected them in a way no human could. Daniel crouched beside Rex, rubbing his head gently. "You did it, boy. You kept everyone safe. I don't know what we would have done without you." Rex wagged his tail slightly, panting softly, proud but humble in his own way. He had completed his task, but he remained alert, ready for anything that could come next. The pilot finally spoke, a note of respect in his voice. "Sergeant Hayes, I've flown in dangerous zones for years. I've seen a lot, but I've never seen anything like this. That dog, he's a true hero. We owe him everything." Daniel nodded, keeping his focus on Rex. "He's more than a hero. He's a partner. We trust him, and today he proved why." The soldiers began to board the helicopter again, this time carefully, following the safe paths cleared by Rex's guidance. The tension in the air had eased slightly, replaced with admiration and respect. Each step they took was careful, aware of what could have happened if Rex had not refused to move. Rex stayed near Daniel as he climbed into the helicopter. The dog's eyes scanned the surroundings one last time, ears twitching, making sure the area was truly safe. Daniel patted him on the neck. "All clear, buddy. Let's go." As the helicopter lifted off, the soldiers looked down at the field, now free of danger, and silently acknowledged the dog who had led them through the peril. The wind rushed past, carrying the sound of the spinning blades, but inside the helicopter the mood was different. Respect, awe, and gratitude filled the space. Daniel glanced at Rex, who sat alert, tail straight and eyes sharp. The bond between them felt stronger than ever. He knew that Rex had saved not just lives, but also the mission itself. The K-9's refusal to move earlier had prevented a disaster, and now, everyone aboard recognized the importance of trusting instincts, training, and the incredible senses of a dog in dangerous situations. The helicopter soared above the base, leaving the cleared field behind. Daniel finally leaned back, letting out a quiet sigh of relief. He looked at Rex, who glanced at him as if acknowledging the shared success. "Good work, buddy," Daniel whispered. "You did it. You really did it." The soldiers whispered among themselves, recounting what had happened. Some shook their heads in disbelief. "I still can't believe a dog saw all of that," one said softly. Another added, "He's more than a soldier. He's a guardian." Daniel smiled faintly, eyes forward, thinking about the mission ahead. Rex remained alert, ready for whatever came next, but for now there was a moment of calm, of respect and understanding. The K-9 had proven his worth in a way no words could fully express. In the cockpit, the pilot exhaled slowly. "Sergeant Hayes, I think today I learned something important. Instincts matter. Trust matters. And sometimes heroes don't wear uniforms. They have fur and four legs." Daniel chuckled quietly, patting Rex gently. The dog wagged his tail slightly, proud but still humble, ready to face the next challenge. As the helicopter moved toward the next stage of the mission, Daniel thought about the team below, the dangers they had avoided, and the bond between man and dog. Today had been a lesson, not just in caution but in trust, respect, and the silent courage of a partner who could sense danger before anyone else. Rex had led them safely through one of the most critical moments of their mission, and no one aboard the helicopter would ever forget it. The helicopter hovered above the cleared field, the soft roar of the spinning blades filling the morning air. Daniel stayed close to Rex, who sat alert, ears perked, eyes scanning every corner of the terrain below. The K-9's instincts had guided them safely through the hidden dangers, but Daniel knew this mission was far from over. There could still be threats they hadn't noticed yet, and Rex remained vigilant, ready to respond at a moment's notice. The soldiers looked around nervously from their seats, still in awe of what Rex had accomplished. They whispered quietly among themselves, amazed at the dog's precision and intelligence. "I can't believe it," one murmured. "He saved us all. If we had taken off without him, we wouldn't even be talking right now." Daniel nodded quietly, keeping his focus on Rex in the area below. He had learned long ago not to underestimate a canine's abilities. Their senses were far sharper than any human's, and Rex had proved it today. The mound of hidden explosives, now safely marked and neutralized, was just one example of the dangers the dog could detect before humans even noticed. Suddenly, Rex's ears twitched and his body stiffened. He barked sharply, low and urgent, a warning sound that made Daniel's heart race. Daniel leaned closer, following Rex's gaze. At first, he saw nothing unusual, just the field stretching out beyond the base, dotted with patches of grass and small mounds of dirt. But then a faint glimmer caught his eye. A shadow moved slightly, almost imperceptibly, and Daniel realized Rex had detected another threat, one that was more serious than anything they had encountered so far. "Everyone, stay calm," Daniel said firmly, raising his hand to halt the soldiers who were peering out from the helicopter. "We're not taking any chances. Rex knows there's danger. We follow him carefully." Rex moved cautiously toward the spot, his nose close to the ground, sniffing and circling in a small radius. Daniel and the soldiers stayed back, watching the dog with a mix of tension and admiration. Every step Rex took was deliberate, purposeful, and confident. He was leading them to something critical, and Daniel trusted him completely. Then Rex stopped abruptly, barking loudly and backing away slightly. Daniel crouched down beside him, his eyes narrowing as he scanned the area. There it was, a thin line of disturbed earth almost invisible to the untrained eye, stretching across the field. Daniel's stomach tightened. He realized immediately that this was a tripwire connected to an explosive device, carefully concealed among the grass and dirt. He motioned for the soldiers to hold their positions. "Do not move," he said. "Rex has found another danger. We can't rush this." The pilot, watching from the cockpit, frowned. "Sergeant, I still don't see it." "Are you sure it's something dangerous?" Daniel nodded. "Absolutely. Rex wouldn't be this focused if it wasn't serious." "Trust the dog," Rex barked again, circling the line carefully, then stopping to growl at a specific point. Daniel approached slowly, crouching low to examine the area. His eyes widened as he saw the thin wire and a small hidden device partially buried under the dirt. If anyone had stepped on it, the consequences would have been catastrophic. The helicopter itself could have been at risk if they had tried to move too soon. Daniel took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. He looked at the soldiers and spoke firmly but quietly. "This is why we follow Rex. He's not just a dog, he's part of this team. He saw danger before we did, and he saved lives. Now we need to be extremely careful." The soldiers nodded, taking a step back and giving Daniel and Rex room to maneuver. Daniel carefully marked the area with brightly colored flags, signaling to the team that this spot was dangerous. Rex remained alert, watching every movement, ensuring that no one got too close to the hidden threat. "Good boy," Daniel whispered, patting Rex gently on the neck. "You've done it again. You've kept everyone safe." Rex wagged his tail slightly, panting softly, proud but focused. He had completed his task, but he remained on high alert, ready for any new danger. As the team continued their careful inspection, they discovered more hidden devices, all perfectly camouflaged. Each time Rex barked, growled, or circled the area to signal the danger. Daniel and the soldiers worked methodically, guided by the dog's instincts, clearing each device and marking safe paths. The helicopter remained hovering nearby, engines running but waiting patiently, giving them space and time to handle the situation. Minutes passed, the sun climbing higher, casting a warm glow over the field. Despite the tension, there was a growing sense of awe among the soldiers. They moved cautiously, aware of what could have happened if Rex had not refused to move from the ramp earlier. Each step was a reminder of the dog's sharp instincts and unwavering focus. Finally, after an hour of careful work, the last device was safely removed. The field was clear and the immediate danger had passed. The soldiers breathed a collective sigh of relief, their eyes turning toward Rex with admiration and gratitude. The dog had guided them through a potential disaster with precision and courage, proving that instincts and training could save lives in ways humans sometimes could not. Daniel crouched beside Rex, rubbing his head gently. You did it, boy. You kept everyone safe again. I don't know what we would have done without you. Rex wagged his tail slightly, eyes bright and proud, yet calm and humble in his way. He had completed his task, but he remained vigilant, ready for the next challenge. The pilot spoke over the radio, his voice filled with respect. Sergeant Hayes, I've flown in dangerous zones for years. I've seen a lot, but I've never seen anything like this. That dog, he's a true hero. We owe him everything. Daniel nodded, eyes on Rex. He's more than a hero. He's a partner. We trust him, and today he proved why. Instincts matter. Training matters. Trust matters. And sometimes heroes come in 4 legs and a fur coat. The soldiers began boarding the helicopter again, following the safe paths cleared by Rex's guidance. Daniel climbed in last, ensuring Rex was right beside him. The dog's eyes scanned the area one final time, ears twitching, making sure everything was safe before they left. Daniel patted him gently. All clear, buddy. Let's go. As the helicopter lifted off, the soldiers looked down at the cleared field, now safe, and silently acknowledged the dog who had led them through danger. The wind rushed past, carrying the sound of the spinning blades, but inside the helicopter the mood was filled with respect, admiration, and gratitude. Daniel glanced at Rex, who sat alert and proud. The bond between them felt stronger than ever. Rex had not only guided them through danger, but had also prevented disaster and saved lives. The soldiers, once skeptical, now fully understood the K9's importance and the depth of his training and instincts. The pilot exhaled slowly, reflecting on what had happened. Sergeant Hayes, today I learned something important. Instincts matter. Trust matters. And sometimes the bravest heroes don't wear uniforms, they have fur and 4 legs. Daniel chuckled quietly, patting Rex again. The dog wagged his tail slightly, humble yet proud. He was ready to face whatever came next, knowing that he had proven his worth once more. As the helicopter moved toward the next stage of the mission, Daniel thought about the team below, the hidden dangers they had avoided, and the bond between man and dog. Today had been a lesson, not just in caution but in trust, respect, and the silent courage of a partner who could sense danger before anyone else. Rex had led them safely through one of the most critical moments of their mission, and no one aboard the helicopter would ever forget it. The soldiers whispered among themselves, recounting what had happened. I still can't believe it, one said softly. A dog saw all of that before we even did. Daniel smiled faintly, eyes forward. He's more than a soldier. He's a guardian, he whispered. Rex's eyes met his, acknowledging the shared understanding between them. Together they had prevented disaster and saved lives, proving that courage, intelligence, and loyalty could come in unexpected forms. The helicopter soared above the cleared field, leaving it behind as a silent reminder of what had almost happened and what had been prevented. Daniel leaned back, letting out a quiet sigh of relief. He looked at Rex, who sat alert and calm, ready to respond to whatever challenge came next. Good work, buddy, Daniel whispered. You did it. You really did it. The helicopter moved steadily through the sky, the wind rushing past and the blades cutting through the morning air with a steady hum. Inside, the soldiers were silent for a moment, each lost in their own thoughts, reflecting on what had just happened. The field below, now clear of hidden dangers, stretched far behind them, a quiet reminder of how close they had come to disaster. Daniel sat beside Rex, who remained alert, ears perked and eyes scanning the landscape below. Even now, the dog's instincts did not allow him to relax completely. He was trained to protect, to warn, and to sense danger before anyone else could. Today, Rex had done more than just his job. He had saved lives. Daniel gently patted him on the neck, whispering, Good boy, buddy. You've done it again. Rex wagged his tail slightly, a quiet sign of pride and satisfaction, but his focus never wavered. The soldiers around them began to murmur softly, sharing their thoughts about what they had witnessed. I can't believe a dog found all of that, one said quietly. We would have never seen those devices without him. Another nodded. He's more than just a dog. He's a hero, a true hero. Daniel smiled faintly, thinking about the bond he shared with Rex. Years of training, countless missions, and shared experiences had created a connection stronger than words. He had learned long ago that a K9 partner could be more reliable than any human in critical situations. Today had proven that beyond any doubt. The pilot, who had been watching the field from above, spoke through the radio, his voice filled with respect. "Sergeant Hayes, I've flown in dangerous zones for years. I've seen a lot, but I've never seen anything like this. That dog, he's incredible. We owe him our lives." Daniel nodded, keeping his eyes on Rex. "He's more than incredible. He's a partner. We trust him, and today he proved why. Instincts, training, and loyalty. Sometimes that's all it takes to save lives." The soldiers began to relax, though their expressions still reflected a mix of awe and relief. They knew they had just experienced something extraordinary. Rex had guided them through hidden dangers, prevented a disaster, and protected every member of the team with precision and courage. Daniel leaned back in his seat, letting out a quiet sigh. He looked at Rex, who now rested on his haunches but remained vigilant, eyes bright and alert. "You've done more than your duty today, buddy," Daniel whispered. "You've saved lives, and I couldn't be prouder of you." The soldiers began to share stories of other missions, comparing them to what had just happened. "I've seen dogs in action before," one said, "but never like this. He wasn't just following commands, he was thinking, analyzing, protecting." Another added, "He's more than a soldier. He's part of the team in a way that's impossible to explain. You feel it even if you've never trained a dog before." Daniel smiled quietly, watching Rex's attentive expression. The bond between man and dog had been proven once more. Rex's instincts had saved lives, and his calm but commanding presence had guided the team safely through a dangerous situation. The helicopter flew steadily, leaving the cleared field behind, but the memory of what Rex had done lingered in every mind aboard the aircraft. The soldiers began to relax further, some leaning back in their seats, letting the tension of the past hour fade. Yet despite the calm, they all remained aware of the silent courage sitting beside them. Rex's watchful eyes reminded them that danger could appear at any moment, and that the dog's instincts were always alert, always ready to protect. Daniel patted Rex again, feeling the strength and loyalty beneath his fur. "We're safe now, buddy," he said softly. "You made sure of that. You're not just a dog, you're a guardian." Rex responded with a soft pant, tail wagging slightly, acknowledging the praise while remaining humble. The pilot spoke again over the radio, voice calm but full of admiration. "Sergeant Hayes, I've flown hundreds of missions, but I've never witnessed anything like this. That dog, he's remarkable. I think we all owe him a debt we can't repay." Daniel nodded. "He doesn't need thanks. He's doing his job, protecting us. But today, he went above and beyond. He proved what a true partner is." The soldiers looked around at each other, silently agreeing. They had all witnessed something extraordinary. Rex had guided them, warned them, and protected them in a way no human could have done alone. He had been the difference between disaster and safety. As the helicopter continued toward the next destination, Daniel reflected on the day's events. The morning had started like any other, with the team preparing for their mission, unaware of the hidden dangers waiting in the field. But Rex's instincts had turned an ordinary operation into a story of courage, trust, and heroism. The soldiers began to speak quietly among themselves, recounting what had happened. "I still can't believe it," one said. "A dog saw all of that before we even did." "He saved us," another nodded, voice filled with respect. "He's more than a dog. He's a soldier, a guardian, and a hero. We owe him everything." Daniel smiled faintly, glancing at Rex, who now sat calmly beside him, still alert. "You've done more than anyone could ask of you, buddy," he whispered. "You've saved lives, guided us safely, and shown us what loyalty and courage really mean." The helicopter soared through the sky, leaving the cleared field behind. The soldiers looked down at the landscape, now peaceful and safe, and silently acknowledged the dog who had made it possible. The wind rushed past, carrying the sound of the spinning blades. But inside the helicopter, the mood was filled with admiration, respect, and gratitude. Daniel leaned back in his seat, letting out a quiet sigh of relief. He looked at Rex, who remained alert and ready for whatever challenge might come next. The bond between them had grown even stronger. They had faced danger together, and Rex had proven that courage and loyalty come in all forms, even in the form of a four-legged guardian. The soldiers whispered among themselves, recounting the events of the morning. "I still can't believe a dog found all of that," one said. Another added, "He's more than a hero. He's a guardian. He protected every one of us." Daniel smiled quietly, watching Rex's attentive expression. "You're more than a soldier. "You're a partner," he whispered. "And today, you proved that in the strongest way possible." The helicopter continued its journey, the team now moving toward their next mission with a sense of confidence and trust that had been strengthened by what they had witnessed. Rex sat proudly beside Daniel, ready to face whatever came next, his instincts sharp, his loyalty unwavering. As the aircraft flew higher, Daniel reflected on the lessons of the morning. Instincts matter. Trust matters. And sometimes the bravest heroes are not the ones wearing uniforms. They are the ones sitting quietly, alert and ready with fur, 4 legs, and a heart full of courage. The soldiers around him nodded silently, understanding the truth of those words. They had witnessed heroism in its purest form, guided by a partner who had saved their lives without hesitation, without complaint, and without fear. Rex had led them through danger, protected them, and ensured that every step of the mission was safe. Daniel patted Rex once more, whispering softly, "Good work, buddy. You did it. You really did it," Rex responded with a soft pant, tail wagging slightly, eyes bright and alert, ready for whatever challenge lay ahead. The helicopter soared onward, leaving the cleared field behind, a silent testament to the courage, loyalty, and instincts of a canine partner who had proven himself in the most extraordinary way. The soldiers, the pilot, and Daniel knew that they owed their safety to this remarkable dog, a true hero who had saved lives without hesitation, silently, and with unwavering courage.